was a rush of people with model trains in Festive Road. At number 52 was Mr Benn's house. Mr Benn was reading a comic about model trains. He was thinking he would have one. I haven't had a train set for years, he thought. Downstairs is all right to make it. With the thinking of model trains, he had an idea and decided it was time for another visit to the costume shop. He put on his hat and coat and started walking to find it. At last, he found it, and he hardly paused before going in. As if by magic, the shopkeeper appeared. "Good morning, sir," he said. "I see you've chosen the driver's outfit." "I have," said Mr Benn. "The other one this time, with the red hat." Mr Benn changed into the other driver's outfit. He looked at himself in the mirror of the changing room, but not for long. He went through the door, not the door to the shop, the door that led to an adventure. When he came through the door, he found himself in an outback railway, and there was a shed he could see. "That must be Rocky Point," thought Mr Benn. "I wonder why he looks upset." He walked over to have a look at him. "Hey," said a voice, "you can't drive the old engine." It was the manager who ran the railway. "He's not working anymore." "Not working anymore?" said Mr Benn. "Why not?" The manager explained to him why he wouldn't come out of the shed. "His workings aren't any good, and he has boiler issues as well," he said. "We're deciding to give him to the museum. There's a family that brought him." "Could I have a talk to him?" asked Mr Benn. "I wasn't going to drive him." "All right. Then we'll send him away to the museum." Mr Benn walked up to the engine. "Hello," he said. "I believe you had issues of your workings." "Yes, I do, sir," I've been put here to be taken to the museum. Even when they've brought me, they don't have enough money to make a society." "Could I help with moving you?" said Mr. Benn. "I might have an idea to settle this matter." Mr. Benn noticed a metal stick. He took it, released the brake, and began moving him. "It's the end for you. Sorry, mate." He moved him to the lobby, which was waiting. The manager walked up. "How did you move him like that, sir?" he asked. "I just used this pole," said Mr. Benn. "The easy thing to use when you want to move an engine with working issues." "Well, we'll get him loaded on the truck. Let us arrange him in his display spot. He doesn't need the metal stick." Rocky was loaded onto the lobby, but Mr. Benn kept with it by hiding in his cab with a black tarp on himself. "Off to retirement land." That's what you think. He was ready to be in display when they got there. Mr. Benn got off, then walked in the museum unnoticed. Rocky was standing in his new home. Well, he wasn't used to it yet. If someone would plan to get him better. Mr. Benn appeared. "I thought I'd cheer you up with the small mending. I'll just look at the workings then. Don't tell anyone I'm to give you a test run." "Okay. But watch out, the manager's a bomb of anger." "You could polish that." Mr. Benn's first plan was to clean out the tubes. Then he put in some workings which were put in the spots where the old ones used to be. When they were done, he began to get him in steam. "Hey, I'm in steam." "There. Now do a bit of a secret thing, like take some trucks of wood for the houses." "Good idea. I might have to pretend this didn't happen after we finish it." When the moon was going down, Mr. Benn drove the old engine out of the museum. Rocky Point went to find the trucks. Now what Rocky Point meant about the manager being bomb-angered is he was not caring. What he would do is brag and doesn't think clearly. And I'm sorry to say he doesn't like Rocky Point. Rocky hated him because he was not the person to work with. He was glad to know he was retiring early so a new one can take his place. Rocky collected the trucks, took them to the ward. Yeah, what's she doing out of the museum? Mr. Benn loaded the map. When the train was ready, they set off to Darwin. Rocky Point went faster along the main line. Whee! He whistled. Mr. Benn kept his eyes on the track. He also kept an eye out on anything that would come upon them. They went through the woods and over the hill. There was a steep slope, and Rocky puffed very hard to reach the top. "Steady now, old boy," said Mr. Benn. Rocky went down the other side. They came to the drop-off station, and another truck was waiting for them. Mr. Benn quickly unloaded the truck. He and Rocky didn't want the truck driver to tell the manager about their whereabouts. The truck left to deliver the load. Mr. Benn drove Rocky back to the museum in Perth. When they reached home, Rocky sneaked in. No one was about as he backed into his display stand. Mr. Benn put his fire out. "We've done it," said Rocky. "Now I best pretend this didn't happen." "The manager didn't know we played a trick on him," said Mr. Benn. After a while, Mr. Benn and Rocky felt that something was wrong. But what? Mr. Benn checked his firebox. It was out, but he had to clean it up. The more they thought about their secret help work for people, the more worried they would feel when they encountered the manager. Mr. Benn sneaked to the office and saw to his surprise he was working late and didn't get any sleep. "You won't suspect a thing when he's sleepy the next day," he said to Rocky. "The door's unlocked. I might lock it and block him in." "Still be careful. He's a bomb of anger, I did tell you." That's very true. Well, he's odd-minded. Mr. Benn quietly locked the office door, then put a bin in front of it. He went back to Rocky just as the sun came up. The manager woke up drowsy and rather ill. Huh? When he tried to open the door, he couldn't get out. "Help! I'm locked in!" he cried. He began bashing the door with a dead force. So much force that he burst out and was in a flaming temper to find who did it to him. Mr. Benn hid in Rocky's cab. "What's going on, Rocky Point?" What's what, sir?" "You haven't been sleeping last night." "Me? Not sleeping last night? What kind of nonsense are you talking about? I was sorting papers." "It's not nonsense. Do you think I can believe a man can be some criminal?" "No, you don't. Because when I was not well, you treated me like some teapot out of date." "It doesn't matter what you think, because I'll have a word with the railway boarders." "No, you don't," said a guard who came up. "You're going to the police station for jail terms." Mr Benn came out of the cab when the guard caught him. "Call yourself a manager, you care nothing but yourself with carelessness. I locked you in because Rocky Point talks true. You are a criminal, and you know it by what I found." "Oh, no. That's my records of when I was in the orphanage." "That's right, Mr. Swampwood. We've been waiting days to find out about your records, but you had none. This was a loan. Come on, off we go." "That's him sorted, Rocky. But still, don't tell anyone else about your workings that have been mended." "Right. Uh-oh. People are coming. Best leave. They're about to look at me." Mr. Benn said goodbye and went out of the museum. A man appeared beside him. "Walk through this tree, sir. It's best no one in 1925 know how his whereabouts were made." Mr. Benn walked through the tree. Just as he expected, he found he was back in the fitting room of the shop. He took a last look in the mirror and changed into his clothes. The 20s was surprising when I met Rocky Point in his young style. Well, remember you met him the last time? He broke down again, so you left him a toolbox. This photo can prove it." Mr. Benn smiled. When he got home, he looked at the photo of when he met Rocky Point, not in the 20s. "I wonder how long that was hidden," wonders Mr. Benn. "It might be a surprise to Georgie when he visits England, and help me to remember."